participators and welcome to the guests. How many have gone on a road trip for 5 days, either with family or friends? Show of hands. How many people had made plans before going on the road trip? Okay. Now, the topic for tonight is going to be planning the adventures of the road trip and the communication involved. 10 years ago, I went on a trip to Canada with 4 of my college buddies. We all had individual roles to play in the planning of the trip. My role was to get the restaurant information and activities done. One of my other friends, whose name is Eric, his role was to get the rental car so this way we can go on this road trip. Now my friend, his name is Eric. Very smart guy. He was an adjunct professor. Right? Keep this in mind as the story develops, because he plays in a very interesting role. So we decided to plan all this, get everything done, and we go on this road trip. We rented a Dodge Caravan. We had awesome time. Now, at this time, Opie and Anthony, they were big. They had this thing called Whip 'em Out Wednesdays. So what we did was, when we traveled upstate, we plastered the car. We wrote "wow" on paper, and we plastered the car with it. Now, let's just say that a few women flashed their merchandise, and let's leave it at that. So that was the fun part of the trip. We go to Toronto, and we watch a baseball game. We watched the Toronto Blue Jays. We went to see the CN Tower, and the tower was extremely tall. It was very high. I would compare it to the Empire State Building. That's Toronto's version of the Empire State Building. We go to a nightclub, and we had a fantastic time. We met some women, had a good time, and then we go to Montreal. In Montreal, we went to Chinatown, which had good food. We also went to various French restaurants there. Being correct, the very French-like. We had Montreal was a great time. Now, the last day of the trip, we went. It was the morning of, and we decided to let the valet parking attendant get the minivan. The valet attendant, he starts to drive the minivan slowly. All of a sudden, he hits the gas pedal. And it was like watching in slow motion. He hits the gas pedal, and a black Jetta comes in. He hits the Jetta on the passenger side. We're like, oh man, this cannot be happening after a great trip. Our mouths dropped wide open, and we were like in shock. Cops come, and we go to our friend Eric, And we said to him, Eric, we have car insurance, correct? He goes, no, we didn't get car insurance for this. We felt like we were going to punch him. Because we were so angry that he didn't consult us about the car insurance. The car was under his name. He had to pay the damages of the rental. Now, what turned out to be a great trip, it turned out to be a great trip except for this incident. It affected the ride going back home. Now, to the points that I want to make regarding this trip. First, if you're going to travel, make sure that you have insurance. Whether it's going to another country or a different state, make sure that you have insurance with you. Second, communication. You have to communicate with the people that you're going on the trip. Not just your friends if you're going, but if you have a wife, a husband, a brother, mother, you have to communicate and you have to plan it thoroughly and get every bit of information down pat before you go on the trip. Because that was the biggest issue. And third is even though it was his fault for not getting the car insurance, looking back 10 years later, we should have all maybe contributed $100 or $200 to it. And with that, I want to say thank you.